performed this on Broadway, the West End, and now as a feature film. Can you rank the order, or are all three just such unbelievable achievements that, you know what I mean?
The film is number one, but it never could have happened if we hadn't had the success we had on stage, and there is nothing like playing for a live audience. Broadway audience has its own personality. A London stage for an American actor is just like this, such an amazing feeling of history when you're on that stage. So many amazing actors have come before you, and I think in America we have this sort of high regard for British acting. I mean, it's like our history, right? It's our legacy as actors, and but the movie is, most people who know Jersey Boys now for the next several decades the movie will be their only exposure to it. I'm so happy that I got to do it.
I can only imagine. What was that initial meeting like with Clint? When did you? Because originally it was Favreau, and then it went to Clint.
Right.
And I'm very curious if you could talk about when you first found out it was going to be Clint doing it, and what that initial meeting was, and talk about that.
Sure. I did the first, the original cast on Broadway, the first 2 years, and then had left and was on to other things, and I live in California, and was doing other things, and at a certain point during late 2012, the Broadway production asked me if I wanted to come back for a short stint, and I said yes, and so I went back after several years away from Jersey Boys to the original long-running Broadway production. At that same time, it just so happened that Clint Eastwood became attached to the movie and started to ramp up really fast, and we heard rumors in our company that Clint was going around to the national companies of Jersey Boys seeing the show to learn the property that he was going to direct. And my manager and I were here in New York. I was doing 6 shows a week, not the matinees, but the evening shows and then the Sunday matinee. So I had Saturday afternoons off, and this is important. We heard that Clint Eastwood was going to be in town at the Tribeca Film Festival for a premiere of a new documentary on his directing career, and afterward he'd be interviewed by Darren Aronofsky about directing. And so my manager and I grabbed a notebook, and we nabbed tickets to this screening, and we went to the screening on a Saturday afternoon. I stayed afterward and took notes in my notebook about Clint Eastwood's answers, to how he directs, just in case I found myself working with him. I knew that he worked very fast, and I wanted to have sort of a guidebook so I'd be prepared if I got the chance to work with him. And we figured he's in town for Tribeca. He will probably see the Broadway Jersey Boys tomorrow. And lo and behold, that Sunday matinee the next day, I heard in the wings before I was getting on stage that there was a standing ovation in our audience because they had just seen Clint Eastwood walk into the house. And at that point, I had probably done the role about 1,200 times over the years. And so, it was my domain. Broadway was my domain. I knew that I was good in this role, that this is something I'd done a lot of times, and I was so, you could think that maybe I would be nervous that he was there, especially knowing he was going to direct the movie. But I just felt so proud to be able to show Clint my best work to this guy who was a Hollywood icon. I was just happy that he was there, and let the cards fall where they may, when it came to the movie. I also knew, just intuitively, there can be no better audition than to be giving the performance that won you a Tony Award in the original production of something that now is all over the world than this. So after the production, he decided to come onto the stage and say hello to the cast. He keeps things very close to the vest, so do I. So we had very short words with each other of admiration and thank you for coming, and he said he'll enjoy the performance. And the next time I met him was on the set of his movie. That's
crazy. He is known for doing, previously before this movie, he's known for shooting the rehearsal, maybe doing an additional take. And I know this was his first time working with digital cameras. Right. So I'm just curious what it was like making this in terms of how many takes he wanted to do. Were there a time that you wanted to do multiple takes and he's like, we got it?
He doesn't overdo anything. He doesn't overthink things, and I think that's very important. I also think it keeps things very fresh, and it also makes everyone bring their best work right away. The great thing about the fact that Clint chose me and several other people who had done the show before is that we didn't need to rehearse musical numbers, or he could just roll the cameras, and we already knew what we were doing. that's the smart producer in Clint Eastwood, because he's still, most of his movies he keeps 30, 40 days, and this was a musical movie that he kept 40 days, and in fact we ended early. We were 38 days, and we were scheduled to do 40 days. So he was really efficient with this. I knew that he was famous for only doing 1 or 2 takes, but he was shooting digital for the first time, so he never had to really worry about rolling out or film stock or reloading. So if we wanted to try something again, we were very free to ask. And sometimes we would do a rehearsal, he'd be shooting it, and we'd find that he thought that was good enough, and we moved on. And we really rolled with the flow. There was nothing uncomfortable at all about it. And all of us appreciated the opportunity to be able to do another take if we felt like we had something else to show him. But oftentimes 1 or 2 takes, and he was happy with what we did.
Talk a little bit about, I'm not getting to, well, I'll talk to Clint tomorrow at the press conference, but I'm very curious about deleted scenes. I know that there was some stuff cut out of the movie. Was there anything that you were sad to see go?
I'm happy with everything that's in the movie, but it can't be a 5-hour movie. One of those first cuts when we were, because his editors, he's so fast and efficient. His editors, Gary Rochin and Joel Cox and Gary, he works very fast, and his editors are working at the same time that we're shooting. So at one point, Joel Cox and Gary Roach, the editors, had a 5-hour cut of the movie already.
That's
crazy. When we were still at the,
right.
But you can't have a 5-hour movie, so I knew that we were going to lose some things, and some things would be cut. There's a song in the Broadway show that I love called "Beggin'," and it's when they're asking the Gyp, the mafia heavy, to come in and help the group out because they're in money trouble, and it relates thematically to what's happening in the story. Well, in the movie, it's not necessary to get this to propel the story forward. We lost that number. But I did it 1,300 times on stage. I'm satisfied, and the film audience is still going to get a great movie. And then there was one thing that we shot very early on when the group is starting out and they're awkwardly, not entirely succeeding yet, and their car breaks down in the desert, and they have to hitch a ride in the back of a truck with pigs, and it's from a farmer, and 3 of the 4 of us, Michael Amenda, Vince Piazza, and I. That was our 3rd day of shooting. We were in the desert, and every time the truck started, the pigs decided that was their bathroom break. And so there's nothing to bond. There's nothing to bond a cast of characters better than a ride in the back of a truck with pigs.
That's awesome. Talk a little bit about you're getting ready, I'm assuming, to go out and really promote this thing. What are your promotion plans for the film? Are you going all over the country? Are you performing in certain places?
We just started a media tour. We started in Toronto, and we're here on this stop in New York. We're going to go to Chicago, Minneapolis, Dallas, and San Francisco, all before we premiere the movie at the LA Film Festival on June 19th in LA.
And also, let's talk a little bit about the CD.
I have a new album.
Exactly.
I've become, let me put this out. It's called My Turn, and guess why it's called My Turn? Because for 9 years I've been singing as Frankie Valli, and now I'm singing as myself. Great songs from the 60s, mostly the R&B groups, and I'm going to give you this copy, but we'll sign it for you. Anyway, My Turn, it's on iTunes and about to be on Amazon.
I definitely am curious about how you picked the songs, and talk a little bit about, but I have to wrap with you really soon. Talk a little bit about how you picked the songs on it, though. And
the songs are all covers of great 60s R&B. And, having become so well known for playing Frankie Valli on Broadway and singing Four Seasons songs, I've been asked in the intervening years to sing at private engagements all over the country, at Cafe Carlisle here in New York, to high-end, probably one of the highest-end dinner clubs in the whole country. And people want me to sing songs from the 60s. So these are the favorites, audience favorites, and my manager and my personal favorites from all these years of singing songs from this era.
I definitely want to know if you're thinking about for the future. I'm assuming there's a lot of opportunity for Broadway. I'm assuming there's opportunity for West End. I'm assuming there's a lot of opportunity. What are you looking to do to challenge yourself, or what role do you want to take on in the upcoming future? I
never would have expected that I'd be doing a Clint Eastwood movie. I love leaving my life open to whatever the universe is going to present, but I gotta tell you, from my personality, which is meticulous, I love to get in really thoroughly on things, piece by piece. that filmmaking process was really enjoyable for me. And you know, films are hard to come by for actors in general. We all know that, but I really loved doing it. I'd love to do another film. But if that's not what's next, so long as the role is great or the material is fantastic, I don't care where it happens, as long as I'm enjoying it.
I'm going to say, seriously, congratulations on the movie. You're fantastic in it. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thanks for having us.